Brady. Hey, Brady, how's the vacation going? What?
It's good. It's great. It's great. Scarif is wonderful.
Yeah, it's beautiful down there. I heard it's...
It turns out, the Imperial presence is still kind of here. So when I booked the flight, you know, I was like, these
still
tickets
Imperial
are cheap.
bucketheads on Scarif.
I am currently recording this podcast in a closet because there are Imperial stormtroopers.
Wait.
They're marching up and down the halls,
Wait, you
man.
mean there's an active Imperial military presence?
There is an active presence. I thought I was getting a nice rate on a beach vacation on Scarif. Beautiful Scarif, right? Lovely, beautiful beaches. Well, turns out it's because active presence.
Even Spirit Airlines wouldn't fly to Scarif for those rates if there wasn't something fishy going on.
Well, I shouldn't have listened to P-Video when he said he could get me those cheap tickets.
Shut up, P-Video. He's going to get captured and definitely tortured by the Empire.
They do love to torture.
They torture people.
They love to torture.
Okay, well, I mean, are you still going to be able to do the podcast? We were going to do a nice on-location podcast.
Yeah, I think I see them starting to... They're walking down another hall. I think we'll be okay.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, keep your wits about you.
Always.
All right. Well, you stay on location. BBDO, open up the cargo bay. We got to talk about episode 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah!
Hello there, and welcome to the Cargo Bay, a Star Wars conversation podcast being transmitted to you from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I am Brady C, here with my co-host, as always,
Adam B. Hey, BC. I mean, I know you're under Imperial threat right now, and you got to keep your voice low, which is a shame because I'm really excited to talk about this episode of Obi-Wan.
I'm also excited. I've fashioned a blanket as a sound barrier because I am on vacation and everyone in the house is currently sleeping or trying to sleep. But for the podcast, for the love of Kenobi, you know, we had to do it. So, you know, recording out here on the beach, you know, beautiful beaches of Scarif. Again, the Imperial presence is a little greater than I would have wanted, but, you know, we press on. We record because we got to talk about this episode of Kenobi.
Well, here's what I want to know, BC. Here's what I want to know. Did you watch the Obi-Wan episode you watched on vacation, you know?
Yep.
Did you watch it with headphones on? Did you watch it in the open? Did you have any outside commentary about Kenobi, or is it secret? Is it safe?
Who knows? It was totally secret, totally safe. So I fell asleep last night. I just put on the part 1 and fell asleep probably like 20 minutes into it. Maybe, yeah, like probably about 20 minutes into it. And that was like probably around midnight because I wasn't going to stay up until 3 Eastern time to catch it. But I woke up just in the middle of the night randomly, like probably like 4:30 or so, and I still had my Disney Plus up on my laptop, which was next to me. So I was like, yeah, I'll just play the episode because it was out.
Rolled over and tap.
Yeah, I was like, refresh. There it is. Play. And so I did that. Yeah. And it probably wasn't the best idea to watch it at that point because I wasn't as engaged probably as I normally am. Like usually I'm up early to watch it.
Yeah.
I felt almost like I was still asleep. So my response was definitely skewed by that. I enjoyed it. I mean, even on a first watch, I was like, this is fine. I can nitpick with all the things that I normally nitpick and I like the things that I normally like. And there's the highs and the lows of it. But waking up, I don't recommend waking up in the middle of the night and then watching and then going back to sleep for a few more hours. I woke up and I was like, I'm pretty sure I watched it. I don't remember a ton of it. But as always, I go back and I rewatch it so that I can take notes and we can talk about it.
Yes,
as we do.
A great service that you do to the podcast.
Yeah, and my rewatch experience was much more pleasant in the afternoon after I had gone out to the beautiful beaches of Scarif and dipped my toes in the waters and had
Can you go barefoot
nice
into the
relaxing
waters of Scarif?
Yeah, it depends on where you are.
Okay. Because it seems like the topography is all the same across the entire planet. But I guess there's got to be some regional, funguses and predators and whatnot, depending.
Yeah, you just have to know where to be. I got a pretty good location. So,
okay.
Yeah, I had a nice relaxing afternoon and then came back and was like, I'm ready to watch this with like being fully awake and cognitive of what's going on. And I enjoyed my rewatch a lot more than the initial watch, I will say. And I think a lot of it had to do with just how much sleep I had.
Well, that's
compared to the first watch.
We've been trying to get these episodes out, pronto, which was my idea. Yeah. I'll take the blame. I really wanted to have these things out reacting as quickly as we could so we could catch that wave of, new
lightning
listenership.
Fast.
Yeah, lightning fast, lightning hot.
Shout out lightning hot cooking.
But I think it's probably better for us to give it a little time to breathe because I had a similar experience. Last week, I'd say I wasn't like disappointed with the episode and that I was like, this is a terrible episode. I was disappointed in that I realized this show is never going to be an HBO show. This show is like that. It really crossed the line for me where it was like, I can't imagine this in the upcoming episodes turning into like prestige, like beautiful television, like really, the peak of the form of TV. But on a rewatch and after hearing some input, from my fiance and considering things around, I was like, you know what? It was never supposed to be. It was supposed to be Star Wars. Let me go back and appreciate that episode more for what it was. And that is how I went into it last night. But again, it was late at night. It was very late at night. And I had a really good time the first time I watched it. But sleeping in, watching it again later, on my lunch break in the afternoon. I don't know. I really had a good time with this one. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Yeah. No, like I think a good time is exactly how I would describe it. Like again, we'll get into some nits that we will always pick, but I just like having been rested and then just turning it on for the second time. I just thoroughly enjoyed it, which was really nice, as opposed to being half asleep and watching it and being like, I don't know if I agree with this. I'm so tired.
That's
the second watch, I just was like, oh, this is fun. This is a fun episode.
And I will cut this out of the podcast if you ask me in post to do so, BC. But I will say I'm also guilty. If I watch something late in the evening, I will often have consumed some of the legal marijuana that is available in California. And when I do such a thing as that, my tolerance for television acting really low. Like I can watch something that I feel like is like peak acting performance. And I'm even talking about like the style of acting. I'm talking like I want realism or else I start to totally lose it. And this is something this episode definitely suffered from last night as I was like, ooh, this is cheesy. I can't take it. It's too cheesy. And then on a rewatch this afternoon, I was like, this is fine. This really isn't like these people are doing good work.
I was being overly critical. I apologize. No. Leave it in the podcast. It's fine.
Okay.
Who cares? Yeah. Whatever.
Sorry if you now think I'm a heathen, listeners. I am.
You're abiding by the laws in the state in which you live.
That's
so
true.
I don't think anyone can have a problem with it. So you want to jump into this episode?
Yeah, I do.
All right, cool. Well, here's our blanket warning. Spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
If you have not watched part 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, get out of here.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Or you know what?
Watch it.
If you're experiencing this show through our podcast, good for you.
Yeah. Hey, I can think of only one better way to consume it, which would be directly through the program. But after that, it would be listening to this podcast and what we have to say about it. So if that's how you're enjoying Obi-Wan Kenobi, good for you. If you're just like, spoil away, this is how I consume Obi-Wan Kenobi, then welcome to the Cargo Bay. By the way, we are the Cargo Bay Pod pretty much anywhere you can find us on social media.
Check us out.
So like, follow, subscribe.
Check out giveaways.
Throw some love our way.
There's going to be a giveaway out there. Actually, here it is. Here's the secret code for the giveaway. The secret code is comlink. Comlink. Email comlink to the Cargo Bay Pod at protonmail.com, and you will have an entry to win this 2 of 99 Offbeat Buddies refractor from Star Wars Chrome Galaxy by Topps. All right. I did it. There's the plug. There's the code early in the show.
There you go, right up top. You don't even have to wait around for it. So let's get into the episode. We are going to start on Jabeem.
Jabeem, a new planet to my knowledge, VC.
Yeah, definitely a new planet. I know it exists. I'm pretty sure in like other canon. Okay. So it's a
I may have been there in a video game and don't remember it, I guess.
I think one of the things I heard about it is that canonically it's like where one of the deadliest battles occurred during the Clone Wars.
Oh, okay.
So it's got some maybe legacy history at this point, but it just in terms of what a casual, like even us who have seen like Clone Wars and Rebels and all that sort of stuff, this is really the first exposure we're getting to Jabeem.
Yeah, live action for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got Obi-Wan. He's pulling a Boba Fett. He's taking a little back to bath. It's nice. He's recovering from catching some flames on Mapuzo after getting all burned up. And so there's a weird, that connection between him and Vader is still happening as Vader's taking a little dip. They're just kind of like floating in their back to us, feeling each other out a little bit. And then Obi-Wan's like, oh my goodness, I got to get out of this little tub. Where's Leia at? I forgot all about her.
There are two interesting things about this to me. The primary thing is this is the show to me in a bubble, which is like a lot of it doesn't totally make sense with my headcanon. I'm like, why is Vader still in Bacta? For one, like after all this time, is he still trying to heal back to full form? Why isn't Obi-Wan's breathing apparatus tied to his face as he's, he just has to hold that thing in his mouth the whole time, the hurt man in the Bacta? I got a lot of questions, and then it all disappears because I'm like, ooh, the Force connection, the pain. Yeah.
It's and I feel like that's been a recurring thing for you, is that like there's things where you're like, oh, this is weird. And you're like, but I love this, which is nice. So we get him, we're going to be moving this plot forward. He's got to get back to Leia. Yeah. I thought maybe there would be a little bit of like an episode of separation for them, but no. Too. We're right back into it. So we're going to cut over to Fortress Inquisitorious on the water moon of Nur, which is in the Mustafar system, as we all know.
I like that I like that they call it a water moon. That's a great band name.
Waterman.
Yeah, Waterman's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go right back to Leia. Is she immediately under scrutiny here? Is she being inquisitated immediately? Is that where we start?
She's going to be inquisitated mostly throughout this episode. Yeah. But she's giving him hell, like the little spitfire that she is. And Reva.
I call her Reva, but I don't know if that's right. I like Reva because Reva is too close to Reba McEntire for me.
It makes me think of Reba.
And I mean,
McEntire.
Other people I know named Reba. I'm not trying to,
Sure.
Sorry, people named Reba. I think Reba McEntire. I'm sure,
every
a curse that you all deal with.
Yeah. It's the cross you all must bear in life. Yeah. So I'll say Reva, you say Reva. Okay. So Reva enters and tells Leia that Obi-Wan dead and that no one is coming for you. So that's kind of where little Leia is.
She knows. Do you think she knows he's not dead by reading her mind with the Force?
I think she does. At least it feels that way.
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to convey, is that like she already knows this is BS. Like she can tell.
Yeah, we'll get to more moments of her like just having that force power, straight up. We're introduced to Roken back on Jabim.
This is Ice-T's son.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube's son. Sorry, Ice-T.
Ice Cube's son, yeah. It's Ice Cube's son, who played Ice Cube in the Public Enemy movie.
That's right.
Who says that Obi-Wan, he needs to get out of here. You're trouble.
This is an egregious mistake. I know Ice-T well. I know him from an old computer video game that he did voice acting in, and I vaguely know Ice Cube, so apologies. Just saying, I'm in the know here, BC. I'm in the know.
We will reach out to their representatives and make sure that the apology is felt far and wide. He does. I like that Roken calls Obi-Wan General.
Yeah, he is talking to Obi-Wan and not. I haven't committed her name to memory yet. Our other character, Tala, because that's what I thought too. Yeah. I was like, he's calling Obi-Wan General, which is cool. And Obi-Wan's in the, like, he's got his old school Jedi. Like, I don't know where they got some old Jedi garb, but he's got it on, and I don't really care why. It looks cool.
We're just going to keep leveling him up, much like a video game. Yeah. This is how this sort of feels to me in a lot of ways. We learned that Roken's wife was taken by the Inquisitors, and so he's going to agree to help Obi-Wan. It's a whole little tiny conflict that happens very quickly.
Yeah.
And isn't super clear to me, where he's like, I want to help you, but they've done bad stuff in the past, so I'm going to help you now. And I'm like, all right. We could have just gotten to the helping him part, but it's fine. Like,
this
whatever.
Is something that rubbed me really the wrong way when I first watched it. And on rewatching, I was like, I don't know. It's fine, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't blame anyone in the scene for it. It is quick. No. It's a quick turn.
That was the thing on the rewatch. I was like, it's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good mindset to go into a lot of this with.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we're gonna get a classic little, like, we're planning a mission scene. You know him, you love him in Star Wars. Some sort of hologram pops out of a table. We're going to figure out how to get inside a Fortress Inquisitorious. Tala agrees to go with Obi-Wan because, you know, she still has that officer clearance.
Which is,
so we think.
Which is wild. Wild to me that the Empire is that incompetent. Like, I try to justify it again because the first time I watched it, I had a lot of little technical things that I was able to excuse later. This was one where I was like, okay, so you had an officer disappear from a planet where a bunch of stormtroopers were shot. I guess you just talk it up to, like, a Jedi was on the planet. That's drawing all of our focus. We assume the Jedi did everything bad, and we're blind to the fact that he could have had help, I guess.
Listen, in the Prestige drama, here's what would have happened.
Okay, yeah.
The Inquisitors would have done an investigation and found that the 3 stormtroopers who were last facing Obi-Wan were actually shot in the back by a blaster, which would have led them to thinking it was an inside job. Yeah. But again, that is Prestige television. Yep. This is Star Wars, which is fine.
Yeah.
Star Wars is its own thing. It doesn't need to be The Wire.
Yeah. This is true.
It'd be cool if it was sometimes, but this is 6 episodes
I've given
of Obi-Wan.
I've given up on that kind of scrutiny holding up.
Yes, we must remove that kind of thinking so as we can enjoy the program. So we're gonna go to traveling to Nur, and we're seeing Obi-Wan test his force pull ability, and my man, it is weak. It is weak. He can barely move that little thing on the table. But he's like, I'll be all right. Don't worry about me. I just can't do anything with the Force right now.
So I'm trying to decide if, like, he just really doesn't have the strength to do it, which I don't think is a thing, or he's just playing with it like a fidget toy, and he just gets lost in his head thinking about dark stuff. You know, like, he's just kind of, and he, like, loses his control because he's so distracted.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Let's
Is that his comm link that he's pushing around?
I think it is.
Okay. It's got a new type of comm link that looks cool. So
yeah,
that's it.
So from there, we're going to cut back to Nur, which is just fun to say, where we've got Reva telling Leia that they found the path and the safe house. They've been found in 2 systems. You know, she's laying it out for her, like, you got nothing to hide here. Just go ahead and tell us about it. She tells little Leia that Obi-Wan burned to death on Mapuzo. And if you tell me where the path is, you can go home. And Leia's like, bitch, I don't know anything about a path. She's hardcore. Leia ain't gonna give. She ain't no snitch.
All
right. She ain't no snitch. She ain't gonna tell nothing. So she doesn't. We got little Leia resisting. She's doing a good job holding out.
All the rest of this episode, I'm excited to hear you, like, you know, break down all of this stuff. This is the stuff where I'm just like, man, we've had so many torture scenes in Star Wars. We've had so many. Tell me, I won't tell you. Tell me, I'm over it. And seeing it done with a child doesn't help it at all for me. This episode is the shortest we've gotten so far. So, like, clearly they didn't try to, like, blow it up to 40 minutes. But no. I don't think anyone's doing a terrible job in the scenes. I don't need to see more of it. I just need to know that Leia's resisting, and she is, and that's it. But yeah, we're going to keep cutting back to this interrogation room over and over and over.
Yeah. And we'll keep going through some of the cuts here, and maybe we can pick some nits with some of that after we've gone through it, because I definitely feel this as well in terms of the editing of this particular episode. So next we're gonna have Tala arrives in the fortress in her officer garb. She gets through security with relatively little pushback from a subordinate Imperial officer who straight up is like, you're not supposed to be in there. But she's like, I've got classified intelligence, if you even know what that is, bing bong. And he lets her through. We get Obi-Wan Kenobi coming up from underneath.
Love it.
Love it.
Like, this is a big redemption point in the episode for me, where from this point forward, I had a pretty good time because I remembered, oh yeah, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is why I'm watching. I would say from Obi-Wan's approach in, I'm pretty much on board with everything in this episode, even the pacing and all of it that I have minor issues with. At this point, like, I'm just like, let's go. Yeah. Like, he's doing Obi-Wan adventures.
Well, it feels very much to me. It has like an Obi-Wan New Hope vibe too, of him like, I've got to get on this Imperial base and sneak around and do shit, which is very cool. It's a great Obi-Wan vibe. I love it. So he gets in using the, the port or whatever that Tala has opened. He goes in immediately, takes out a stormtrooper, and he's looking distinctly Jedi as he's walking down this hall. Like, the garb is straight up. You're like, Jedi. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna go back. Reva McEntire is trying to take information from Leia's mind. So she's bringing back the old Kylo Ren trick. She's bringing back what she did to Haja. Yeah. Haja, yeah. Haja Estri in part 2, where she's trying to extract the information, and Leia just is straight up like, "Is this a staring contest?" Which, to me,
I'm a dyad in the Force. You don't even know.
You clearly don't even worry about it. But to me, this would, like, if Reva isn't like, this child is incredibly strong with Force, because she's absolutely jacking me around right now and not giving me anything. Vader, your daughter's right here. It just brings in the competence. Again, I call into question.
I think she knows that this is a strong kid with the Force, and that's why Obi-Wan is protecting her. But she doesn't even want Vader to know. Like, she's not on Vader's side. I'm confident of that, right? So I don't know. I'm okay with it, I guess. I mean, I don't think she's doing a great job interrogating this child, but I don't know.
No.
I'll believe her competence in her objective for a while.
And again, not to besmirch the performers,
right,
which we don't do here.
Yeah.
I think they're both doing a great job. I think the writing of this is just so like, give me this. No. This.
It's
no.
such a
And now we're
bummer
gonna
to cut
escalate to
to it.
this. No. Yeah, it's like, okay.
Because it's paced as if the dialogue is really great. And like it's fine. It's fine. It's like
it is, yeah. I just feel like if it had more weight, or if there was like 1.5 times the substance to some of the like the pointed questioning. Again, it does.
We need
feel
more good cop
like,
in the beginning, maybe even, like, and lay it to play along, and then turn, and then it gets nasty.
Yeah, just a little more nuance, I think, in general to what's going on here.
The most interesting stuff is the interplay with her father, which they like try to make a turn at some point, but it doesn't really even make that much sense. But yeah, like maybe if it was more like, hey, I know your father's in the Senate and like we work for the Senate, like,
yeah,
we're here to help. Like,
yeah,
that man kidnapped you.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But to each their own.
Yeah.
So Reva is then going to take Lola. We get a little insight into Reva. I had a droid when I was younger too. It was taken from me, like everything else. This is clear, like Jedi line.
Yeah, this is like, I was in the temple. They took everything from me. Yeah. Are you clear on that?
Yes. Yeah. It was,
or maybe the Jedi took me from my droid. Could be it too.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe that's her motivation. Is she was stolen from her family by the Jedi. She didn't really want to go. She's always hated the Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's got to be part of it, especially if we're going back to her being the person in the very beginning in Order 66.
And Obi-Wan's laying in that stuff about being taken from his family and not remembering his brother. So, like, if she's really bitter about that, that'd be good character motivation.
And I think the motivation's there. I just wish it was, because now that we're in episode 4, it's like there's so little time left. It feels like that. It's like I wish that they had either made this like 10 episodes and just let some of the character beats for all of these characters take the time that it takes. So like that we're paying her stuff off right now. I feel like whenever we get to whatever her reveal is going to be, I feel it's going to feel, I hope it doesn't feel too rushed, but I feel like it's going to be very rushed. It's like, we'll know all the groundwork is laid for this. Like all of the signs have been pointing there all along, but I just wish that we took more time. But again, I don't have the budget to produce these things, and I don't have Ewan McGregor's schedule. So
and I also, I'm not sure where it's going
what
yet
they can
either,
sign on for.
I'm not sure how they're going to do these next 2 episodes. No idea. So
we can throw out some ideas or some thoughts about where it's going now that we're a little closer to the end. So let's see, that's Reva and the droid. Obi-Wan is making his way through Fortress Inquisitorious. He's seeing some secret droids as he's making his way to Leia's holding cell.
This is where I want to talk about my new big headcanon change for Star Wars. All right.
Bring it on.
I when I see this droid the first time I watch it, I'm kind of mad. I'm like, why is there a probe droid in this Imperial place? Why are there so many probe droids in general? Why aren't there just cameras in these hallways, right? Like, why don't they just have closed circuit cameras everywhere? And then I'm more annoyed when the probe droid returns later and becomes more of a nemesis. It just like really bothers me. When I watch it again, I realize something about Star Wars tech, VC. Star Wars tech has infinite power almost, right? You can have a laser gun that shoots hundreds of like killing blasts before the battery pack dies. You can have a lightsaber that's powered by a crystal, for who knows however long. You got infinite space travel. What they don't have is semiconductors. They don't have semiconductors. They're the most like, or excuse me, not semiconductors. Like what's the nano version of semiconductors? What our computers run off of?
Processors, microprocessors.
Yeah, maybe microprocessor, but there's a more way to put a pin on like the resource that like is like driving GPU prices higher right now. For instance, like we have a finite amount of, it's a very valuable thing to produce these like microprocessors or whatever it is. And that's the universe that Star Wars is in, is we have all of these sources of nearly infinite power. Like power is no issue, but like fine computer resources are. So it does make more sense to have a droid that hovers around and flies and has a bunch of cameras and processors in its head, because you can move it everywhere. It makes astromechs make more sense because you can't have a computer in your X-Wing because we don't have enough, we can't put a computer in everything, but yeah, you can put a light speed engine on almost anything. So you got to move the droids around. So this is my big headcanon change. I don't know if it's established elsewhere in the canon. If it is, please let us know in the comments. I would love to be pointed to where this like is reinforced, but it like gave me this big sigh of like, yeah, maybe they do have a bunch of stupid droids like everywhere. Maybe they do have things flying around and they've still got people on manual control, because the most valuable thing in the universe is computer parts or like those fine, whatevers. So yeah, there's my big head change for Star Wars.
I like that. I like that a lot. You finished Light of the Jedi, right?
Yes, I did.
What did you? Quick sidebar: the idea of linking all of the droids to do the supercomputer processing to figure out the divergence.
Yeah, that was an interesting plot point. I mean, it fits, right? Like it kind of fits. Instead of having a supercomputer, we build a supercomputer out of all these. Like that's the kind of thing. Like it fits in this world. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, it makes me like that more, actually. Yeah, they're not throwing cell phones in the trash, right? They're not throwing droids in the trash. We don't have enough of that stuff to go around. But yeah, power is fine.
I like that. Good headcanon. Good headcanon shift.
Yeah. So I go from hating this droid to kind of liking it, because it also looks like a physical. I don't know if it's CG or not, but later in the show it looks like maybe it's a puppet or like an actual mechanical thing. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, sorry, I had to yawn for those watching the video.
You've been out in the waves of Scarif all day, Brady.
I have been. Yeah. It's been nice, but exhausting. And now having to dodge the Empire too. So next, we're gonna go to Tala is called out because she's like at a station.
I like this
on Fortress Inquisitorious.
I like the old computer tech not making any sense. Yeah, I love them sticking the rods, the code cylinders into things.
Yeah, you stick those things in there. You stick it in. There's 4 buttons, and then it tells you all the schematics of everything. It's beautiful because she's calling out stuff. You're like, what's she looking at? There's a red button and a blue button, but it's fine. Like, I just buy into it. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't question it. I'm like, perfect. She knows what's going on, but she's called out for it not being her station, and she's gonna pop that dude who's like, this isn't your station. She keeps going. We keep going, which is the important thing here. Obi's gonna dodge some stormtroopers. Tala's gonna return to the comm.
I like Obi,
giving Obi away.
Obi's given that old force click though that he does in episode 4. He's given that distraction noise.
Yeah,
I'm for it.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's hiding, and then great comedic bit. Hey, are you there? And it's like, I'm hiding. And the stormtroopers are like, what?
The most observant stormtroopers we've ever seen. The most on alert.
In question, is this a classic stormtrooper vocal from original Star Wars?
It's not
over there. Let's go.
It's not.
It sounds so similar to original trilogy stormtrooper.
All of their lines are very similar to when Obi-Wan does the force boom in episode 4, but I don't think they're the exact audio files. I think it's pre-recorded.
It just sounded very similar to it.
It could be.
I was like, it just rang. It just rang very in my ear of yeah, exactly. Yeah. It sounded so similar. Just like, oh, that's a nice little touch if they decided to do that. Or change the audio so it sounded like episode 4. So now we're going to cut back to everyone's favorite Reva. Reva tells Leia she's alone. The only person that can save you now, Leia, is you. And Leia's like, I'll tell you where they are. I just don't want anyone to get hurt. I will have to tell my father first. That's okay, right? Because you said we're on the same side. And then Reva's like, torture this child right now. Torture her. Straight up torture her. And so Obi-Wan
I do think it's
closer.
notable, and I don't know if it'll be revealed or not as to why she didn't, but she never lays a hand on Leia, and Leia never gets hurt. And you would think that you would move to a slap before you go straight to the torture machine, you know? So are they going to pay it off as like Reva never actually wanted to hurt this kid? You know, like, is she like in her heart of hearts doesn't want to actually hurt people, like, or at least not children? Or is it just like, yeah, why? I don't know. Or is it just stupid?
Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. I don't know. It's not clear, which I think is a problem in the writing.
Yeah.
Is it? Well, maybe it's not a problem in the writing, but
waiting for the reveal.
Waiting for the big reveal, which is fine. I just wish that.
What if Reva is Qui-Gon? What if she anamorphs into Qui-Gon at some point? And it makes a transformer noise when she turns into.
I'm on board for that. I'm 100% on board for that. I'm also on board for Obi-Wan entering the Tomb of the Jedi in Fortress Inquisitorious.
Yeah. Now this felt a little bit like The Mandalorian, where it was like, didn't see this coming at all. This is like, I'm all right. Like, what is this stuff? This
is where it felt, and it is a direct call to Rebels, which has Luminara in the same sort of like holding death cell or whatever. The one Jedi that I think the first one that we see is a character from a Clone Wars episode.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the old, like, kind of looks like a bunny rabbit, kind of weird looking, goofy face guy.
Yeah.
He's got an episode with Ahsoka where he teaches her a lesson in like patience about finding her lightsaber that she's lost. So R.I.P. that guy whose name I don't remember.
Yeah. And then we got a bunch of ancient looking Jedi.
And then a baby.
And then the youngling.
And then a little baby.
Now, do you imagine every one of these people are going to show up in a show in 5 to 10 years as a minor or major character? You know, every one of these Jedi they've established is somewhere in the Marvel laboratory being actually constructed.
I think for this particular group, it's going to pay off in probably 30 years. I don't think it's going to be as soon.
Okay.
But the well's going to run pretty dry before we get to some of these people.
I think some of the older ones are going to be in our first like Knights of the Old Republic era show. You know, could be wrong. I don't know. Some of them looking old.
Yeah, old and
ancient
weird,
garb.
Man. Very, very ancient looking garb. So that's a cool sort of thing that he's going through in this fortress, just as like a moment to have him like beautiful.
Yeah.
So after he's doing that, he hears Leia's cry as she's about to have her eyeballs drilled out.
I don't like the pacing of this at all. I don't like the cutting in between of them because it makes it like I want to spend some time in that hallway with Obi-Wan and take it in, and instead I'm constantly being pulled away of like, Obi, do you hear it? Do you hear this over here, Obi-Wan? Are you going to get in there and save the day?
And he's going to tell Tala that he needs a distraction ASAP if he's going to save the day. And she obliges. She does as he asks. And she's going to go right into the room.
No, this is a different... I watched this on the rewatch. This is a different officer. Yeah. She signals, like the one who comes in and says, I was told it couldn't wait. They look kind of similar, and it is a female Imperial officer in one of those hats. When Reva comes into the room, the other woman is next to her. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure on the rewatch, I was like, oh, okay, it's not her. Because that confused the heck out of me.
Yeah, it makes more sense if they're different, because if they were the same, I'm like, why would she just not talk to her in the room? Why would they? Okay,
so why would they go elsewhere? I think she like signaled and that's why she's like, I was told it couldn't wait, and then she comes to her. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, well that's helpful. So she gets Reva to come and starts giving her sort of the download on the path. I'm a spy. Reva doesn't believe her. It makes sense that the path would have people among us. Reva questions Tala's integrity. Tala gives her a story about being undercover. She says Obi-Wan's on Florum. We gotta send everyone to Florum. It's the whole like back and forth. I'm a spy. I don't trust you. Yada 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 yada. It's fine.
But again, it's not. Well, part of this is like these scenes in a not rated R show. In fact, in a scene that is catering to a young audience, in many cases, they're hard for me to watch. They're hard for me to watch in all the animated shows too, because I don't feel the stakes. Like when I watch a rated R movie like this, I'm like, oh, someone might have their head blown off here, you know, like, yeah. Whereas when I'm watching this, it just doesn't have the teeth for me yet, because we haven't seen violence on that level or like any of our, you know, I'm just not scared they're going to do something crazy.
Right. There's not the precedence for something like that to happen right now. Yeah, I agree. It just played out and you're like, why doesn't she just chop her head off? you know, it's like
do some Sith stuff. Like, I guess because she's not a Sith.
I guess she's not. But yeah, I was like, why don't you just torture her?
Yeah. Read
instead
her
of the child. Yeah, whatever. So yes, we get all that. Obi-Wan is caught by a seeker droid. That's what's going to happen in that particular thing. Reva is going to start pursuing. Tala escapes the troopers, takes them out easily, grabs their helmets.
I like that fight sequence a lot.
Yeah. And perhaps, I mean, this is Obi-Wan getting his groove back with the lightsaber. We're just seeing like the basic like defensive skills.
Wait, have we gotten? Did we cover him saving Leia? I think we
haven't got there yet.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't got there yet.
Oh, he's already fighting. Okay. I thought the first time he pulls out his blade is in the dark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. It's where did I
think it's right after.
I did skip it. Okay. It's I'm a spy. Reva. Yeah, I skipped over it. Great moment. Lights out. Saber on. Blue light. Boom. Boom. Like that's how a lightsaber moment should be done if you want to scare people.
Did you see the guy who plays Darth Maul in Clone Wars and Rebels posted, because he played Star Killer in the Force Unleashed games.
Oh yeah.
That is like an exact sequence.
Sam Witwer.
Yeah. There's a moment where Star Killer does the exact same thing in a cutscene, and it's like the same looking room, and it's in the dark, and he has blue lightsabers, and he cuts one, and then it turns off, and he gets the other, and he was like, "First you stole my legs, Obi." Now you're stealing my moves. But there's a lot of this taken from video games, PC. A lot of this episode is video games.
Oh, it feels like a video game.
Yeah.
I mean, this episode, and even this show in a lot of ways does feel like a video game.
So
we've talked about like the skill tree,
and that's what Mandalorian was as well.
Yeah, totally.
Beskar quest.
Totally borrows from that. Yeah. I'm upgrading my armor. I want to look cooler. If I'm going to play this game, I want to look cooler. Yeah. So 100% that. Sorry we skipped that. He does have Leia in tow by this point, and he is.
You do see the I know
getting
moment?
That defensive.
First I want to cut, because I think Twitter is going to light onto this. They have the scene. He rescues her. He's got red light coming up from the grate. She's like, "I didn't tell. I didn't tell them where they were." And he's like, "I know." And he says it like Harrison Ford. And I feel like that is an on purpose like callback of, we got the red light coming up from the center grate in the torture chamber. I think we'll see that.
Good call.
But anyway,
did not register with me at all. But good for Star Wars.
I guess it kind of made me cringe. I was not into
it. I did not register that at all.
But anyway, we got Obi-Wan with the saber out.
He's getting his saber back. He's deflecting shots. He's starting to aim them in the right spot on those deflections. So we're seeing him get his groove back. Although one of those shots does crack one of these underwater windows.
Odd.
Yeah, so we've got a nice hole blasted in the glass. He's going to use the Force to keep that window intact. And he does something that he's done in every episode basically so far, which is tell Leia to get out of here. Tala, go with Leia. I'll stay behind.
Uh-huh.
That's been a recurring thing of like, you go ahead, I'll be here. trying to save you, but maybe I will die. But he sends her ahead. He's holding out of the window. He's putting himself between Danger and Leia as sort of that stopgap there. As the troopers get through the door, he releases that cracked glass and sends a flood of water their direction, and is able to join Tala and Leia without so much as a drop of water on his beautiful Jedi tunic. He is going to...
Whoa, this is a big scene. Wait a second.
I am just reading the recap, man. I'm just reading the recap.
Well, I guess I misunderstand. Should we, because if we were to just read straight through the recap, it would be 20 minutes of recap. I thought we were going to discuss things as they happen.
Well, what do you want to
I don't know. This is the peak of the episode for me, man. This is like, it's good. We've got Obi-Wan using my favorite thing about this episode is we have a decisive style for Obi-Wan they've created, which is like, it leans on his prequel, like upstroke weird stuff, but it's also like kind of bridging the gap between old and new, and maybe he's just rusty. But this is, I would love if this is what Disney Star Wars is going to do, is take every Jedi and give them a fake martial art like style applied to their lightsaber fighting, which seems to be what they're doing, right? Like they did it with Luke in Mandalorian, and they did it with Obi-Wan here, and they're doing it with Ahsoka. So like, I don't know. I just had a great time with this. When watching it back, I was like, this looks really cool. Like, it doesn't look practical or real, but it looks like a martial arts like movie, like his lightsaber style. Anyway,
it's the best part of this episode for me.
Yeah.
Is watching him. It seems like, that it is this leveling up or rediscovering some of the Force, because we saw him not be very proficient with his lightsaber in the last episode, where it was just like, I need to not be murdered by Darth Vader right now. To now it's, if I'm not, the attacks that we see are sneak attacks, so it's not something that requires a lot of, blade skill. Yeah. It's just stealth kills.
Blackjacking with a lightsaber.
Yeah. But then going into, you do see him take definitive, like, defensive poses as he's protecting, right? And so you see him start to redirect those blaster shots and be accurate with how he's doing it too. So at first it is like, I'm just going to protect, and then it's, I'm going to protect and deflect at you, because it's a thing that the Jedi are taught, right? It's like, yeah, and I just watched the Rebels episode where Kanan's teaching Ezra. Yeah. About those defensive techniques, right? Where it's like, yeah, you can he's like, yeah, you can deflect it, but you gotta aim it at something too. Like that's the next level. Yeah,
that's like a several episode or like a season long arc. Is Ezra like slowly? You'll see him get better and better at like actually aiming lightsaber.
And so I thought it was really cool. Where it's like it's Obi-Wan, so it's something, he's a Jedi master. Obviously, it's something that's rusty, but it comes back to him. Yeah, like seeing a golfer who hasn't picked up their clubs in a long time. It's like, oh yeah, if I take a few swings, I can still hit it 200 yards if I need to, or whatever, So it's like, he shakes off the rust, and then you see him really start to do work with it. I thought it was great. I thought it's probably my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, it's dope to see him on that level. Of course, the glass breaking, I don't know, is weird to me. Glass acts like glass in Star Wars. It's fine, but it is, again, this is still taken directly from Star Wars Fallen Order. Like this whole like escape from Fortress Inquisitorious is very similar, or just Fortress Inquisitorious is established in Fallen Order, and it's almost like they took the level layout to heart. Like it's that exact, but I'm here for it. It's cool.
Okay. Yeah, people dig the game, and apparently so do the creators of the show. Which is nice. And then we get Obi-Wan doing the hilarious jacket bit, where it's like, in cartoons where you've got someone standing on someone's shoulders and they can be like a tall adult. You have this, but with Leia underneath as he's stowing her away to safety, which is hilarious. It's so good.
My fiance wants this to be our Halloween costume, where like I'm under the coat.
Absolutely, she's Obi-Wan. I love it. Yeah, no, I think do it. It's a great costume. And now we're gonna get Fifth Brother coming in. He wants the base shut down, And of course, we know this is the third sister's doing. You know, this is Reva's fault. We get a little confrontation between Reva and Tala. You know, and she's like, you know, was it worth it for an old man and a child? And Tala's like, this is never who I was. Our heroes are surrounded. It is lights out for them. Things are basically done. But guess what? What's that?
T-47s.
Rebels and ships and some T-47s coming in blasting. It's Chekhov's T-47s. Yeah. We get those T-47s coming in blasting the shit out of Fortress Inquisitorious and several of the troopers on there as our heroes are saved again, as Obi-Wan has once again found that there is help out there in the galaxy. A recurring theme of this particular program.
I like that T-47 crash on the deck. Some of the T-47 stuff doesn't look great to me, but I do like the landing. Yeah. You know, the landing looks cool.
Yeah.
And I also like the lady pilot is playing everything really well when she's like, get in, get in here.
Get in here now. Yeah. So they get on board. The second speeder is or the second T-47 is going to draw the attention. This is piloted by Wade, who we all know and love. And Wade is firing on Reva so that they can make their escape. Wade is out. He's out clear. He's done his job. But wait, what's that? Oh, no. Reva is going to throw something explosive at him. Tragedy befalls Wade. We knew him well. We loved him.
Sorry, Wade.
Rest in peace, Wade. He is exploded
truly
on the
Wade.
Water moon of...
He lived the dream, man. This is my dream. That is the exact role I want. He even gets a scene outside of the cockpit and then a brief heroic moment and then death. This is how you get in a Star Wars. This is well done. Congratulations.
It's how you get in a Star Wars. Then you get on the Comic-Con circuits. Then you start signing cards for Top Star Wars, and then you are set, baby.
You're set.
Your card just says Wade on it. and when we pull the autographs, we're like, I got a Wade.
I think I'd be stoked to get a Wade, actually.
It would be pretty cool. But rest in peace, Wade. We barely knew ye.
R.I.P.
And then we're gonna hear that breath again before we see him. You know him, you love him. Darth Vader, baby. He is going to force choke the crap out of Reva. And she tells him, she's like, I let him go. Don't worry. I let them go. I put a tracker on the ship. Soon the location of the network and Kenobi will be ours. And Vader's like, seems I've underestimated you. But are you sure the tracker's with him? And she's like, yes, my lord. Where he goes, it will follow. So she's got the tracker on him. We have this is a tender little moment between Leia and Obi-Wan as she just grabs his hand. Very sweet.
Yeah.
Very, very nice moment. The scoring on this is also very good as well. And then we cut to Lola lighting up with a red eye.
Lola.
Evil Lola. She's redder. End of episode.
I was a little bit like, yeah, I knew it was in Lola. He didn't have to highlight it that much, but you know, I do like at the end of that episode though. I don't know. This is Star Wars rarely deals with death in any kind of a real way, and I like that we finally get a pilot whose death like affects someone. Like Rose is an example of someone. But as we all know, Star Wars cast her out. They betrayed her and threw her out. But
they said, "You're not welcome here, Rose Tico."
But I like this portrayal of a mission that is a success, and still we see that everyone is devastated and ruined by the death of this person. Like, I don't know, I like it.
He has a name, Adam, and his name is Wade.
Sorry, Wade. And we have them drinking their pain away across the ship as Obi and Leia hold hands, and Leia gets maybe her first taste of the many people she'll have to watch die and get over it and be like, my cause is greater than your life, Sir Wade.
Yeah, I always like when there's a toll that's extracted. That's why I love Rogue One. It's why it's one of my favorite Star Wars, if not my favorite Star Wars movie on any given watching, right? Is it the stakes of it are so real and so felt in Rogue One. I think this show could push further, but I also think watching this, and just now that we're 4 episodes in, that it's pretty clear that it is skewing to a younger demographic, right? That it's not necessarily, like you said, it's not R-rated prestige TV. This is a very PG, like I'm hard PG.
Yeah, hard PG light, is the way to put it. Yeah,
light PG-13, but hard PG is what it feels like, which isn't the worst thing. But if my mindset, because I'm an adult,
right,
and I want to see the hard R of Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's the adjustment that I've had to make going into each episode, where it's like, I'm not getting the hard R Kenobi. I'm not getting, like the Wolverine movie Logan, where we're just going to do an R-rated comic book movie. And that's a great, sort of down and out dying. It's the same kind of story. He's protecting a little girl who's the next Wolverine, and it's like the future of whatever. Just as a weird comparison that popped into my head.
I think that's exactly on for me anyway. It's like that. Yeah, that's what I wanted is Obi-Wan Logan, and but not that I even expected that, right? Like I never expected it to be that, but I think what is like my heart realizing, oh yeah, it's Star Wars. That's not. Yeah, and not only that, but it's Obi-Wan and Leia Star Wars. Whereas Mandalorian was exciting sometimes because like episode 2, where he just starts disintegrating Jawas like it's nothing, like that's not happening in this show necessarily. No, like Mandalorian might be a PG-13, and this is the hard PG.
Yeah, it makes sense because it is Kenobi, and it's one of the biggest properties that they can have on Disney Plus. So to try to reach a wider audience and to appeal to, again, we get so like worked up. That's like, why are they trying to appeal to children? That's Star Wars. That's kind of what it's for. And so we get all worked up and we're like, but some of the tech doesn't make sense, and Obi-Wan's not mad enough, and there aren't enough dead people on the scene. Like, but also the show's for 8-year-olds, so like maybe I should get over some of my stuff. And that is the adjustment that I have, that when I found myself making it, specifically on the second watch of this episode, I was like, this is fine. And not in like a passive, like, whatever, it's fine. I was like, this is perfectly fine for me. I want it to be more than what it is, but I don't need it to be more than what it is. I'm just happy that it exists, and what I'm getting, I'm enjoying, which I think is the most important thing, where it's like, if I don't put it to the standard that I want it to be, which in my head is hard R Kenobi, prestige TV Kenobi, like the first episode being long and drawn out and paced, like character beats and just gritty character stuff that's going on in that first part of the series, and then quickly moving to like adventure of the week, and we got to go planet hopping and move and go and go and go and go. Once I accept that it's not going to be that, I enjoy this so much more than trying to hold it to like this ideal of the show that's in my head that I haven't even like plotted out. I'm like, it could be better if they did it this way, if it was gritty or something. I don't know that to be true. Yeah, but they're pretty smart people handling the story, so I trust them. I do think that there could be more time, but you look at the constraints, the practicality of this. 6 episodes is tight. Yeah. And they have to tell a lot of story in 6 episodes, so it doesn't leave a lot of room for those. Oh, everything, like, all of it. Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. I think that's a better. Like, it's easier to expect that out of Boba Fett. Like expect a little more in the way of like violence and adult quote unquote television for that. But yeah, this makes sense. And
I was just gonna say, quick Boba Fett divergence. and again, the first 2 episodes being, in my mind, very promising in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
And it being like, oh, what if we tell a weird him in the Tusken story, and building up to Crime Lord Boba Fett, and then at the end of episode 2, like going into episode 3, they're basically like, no, we're not gonna do that. And I was just like, that's a bummer for me, because I was excited about this Tusken Raider thing that was happening.
This is good at avoiding that kind of mistake or that kind of feeling, because I don't know where it's going the next episode ever. Like, so far, I've been like, I don't know, and that's exciting.
That's what I was going to say about this one. Is episode 1 left us knowing he's going on this adventure. He's going to go do it, right? Obi-Wan's going after Leia. The end of the second episode left us with the connection with Vader. He's escaped. There's probably going to be some sort of inevitable showdown, right? That's going to come. I thought it would be later, but it's in the next episode, where at the end of it, we know that him and Leia are separated. Again, I thought it was going to take longer for them to come back to it, but we're right into it on this one. This ended, and I was like, I don't really know what I expect the next thing to be, but there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
So there's not
the last one is maybe an hour and 20, but it's probably not. So far, it's proven that they're not going to do finales like that. They're just 50 minutes.
I mean, with this episode ending where it did you have any like, oh, here's what I think is going to be next on this?
No, this is kind of the first time I didn't too, where it's just like, I don't know. Are they going to put up are they going to fight wherever they're tracked? Are they going to, I have no idea what's next.
Right. Because it seems like the main thing that it leaves us with very purposefully at the end, which is
the tracker,
the tracker, right? We know wherever they go, we're going to be on them. So it seems like the fight is going to be coming to them, as opposed to them going to the fight like they did in this one, I guess. But is it all the Inquisitors? Is it Vader? Is it the full force of everyone? Is it a
showdown with the Jedi remnant wherever they're going?
Right, because if they're going back, are we going back to Jabim? Are we going back to another location on the path? Do we have to avoid these things? I guess it'll be interesting to see where it is that they land at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah,
because that's where it's going to start coming down. But it feels to me like he's got Leia now, right? Like, he has her. They have escaped immediate danger and harm. Why wouldn't you immediately go back to Alderaan?
Right.
Like, if that's on the table, go and take her back to safety immediately. Because if it's not about her, because there's the line where it's like, this is all about Kenobi,
right?
It's
like okay, well then why did you care about tracking the network? Should have just should have just kept Obi. But yeah.
So it to me, I would love to see it be like, okay, Leia is we've got her. Yes, she's being tracked, but if we put her back on Alderaan, she'll be safe on Alderaan. They're not going to take her again. It seems like that would be dumb if they did, and I think it would be bad storytelling if they're like, we put her back and then we're taking her away. It's like, no, she's there, she's secure. But now that we know where Obi-Wan is, what's he gonna do?
I think Leia's in it for the long haul. I think it ends with Leia being safely delivered back home.
It makes sense if that's it's the thrust of the entire story. It's the quest that Obi-Wan is sent on at the end of episode 1, where it's like, you've got to take this thing on.
I have a new idea. And I don't think it's a real prediction, but here's what I want to see happen. Because the only prediction that I kind of have had is like, they called him General. He's got his Jedi shirt on, his tunic on. When's he going to put on those shoulder pauldrons and some of that clone armor? What if instead of leading them to the network, they're like, you know what? I know where a bunch of outcast clone troopers live. We can we can set up a stand there and and buy enough time for like an escort to get Leia off world. And so they go with like there are like 80 Tamura Morrisons down there, and Obi-Wan, they like give him the clone armor. he like leads the defense with the clone troopers.
They find like Captain Old Man Captain Rex who's out there with his old man crew.
Yeah.
This is the first episode at the end of it where I didn't have a clear idea of what at some point was going to be coming down the line, other than, yes, there will be inevitable conflict between these two.
Yeah.
Obviously, Leia is going to be delivered safely back to Alderaan. Like, we know that is going to happen. I still think we're going to get Qui-Gon in the next. I think it's the next episode. To me, it just makes sense if it's the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
So that Obi-Wan is ready when he gets to the last part of it. But if not, I'm almost positive Liam Neeson is showing up here with him these next two episodes, or at least the voice of Liam Neeson is showing up in these next two episodes.
I'm still holding out for.
That's the one thing I would bet the bottom dollar on.
I think you're right, but I'm still not 100%. I am now to 80%. I'm at 80% sure of return. I still want to see Anakin save Leia. I still think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea what the next two episodes could do. But I think I'll have a better attitude going in, because it's like you said, if I look at this like I looked at the first season of the Clone Wars, where it was like, this is a kid show, and then when clones like sacrificed themselves and people got blown up, I was like, wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Then I think I'll have a good time. I got everything I wanted from this show. I got in this episode. Like, I just wanted Obi-Wan doing some cool Obi-Wan adventures, and he did it. So
I think we've talked about it being very video game like. The other thing is it did feel very much like a Clone Wars episode, which I think part of the disconnect is that like it's easier to accept that when it is a cartoon as opposed to when it's live action, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, seeing it in live action doesn't have the same impact as it does when it is animated for some reason. Like, seeing violence and death in something that's animated hits like twice as hard.
Yeah.
Whereas in live action, you're like, yeah, I see this faked all the time. In movies and TV and stuff, it's so much more rare to see that in a children's cartoon. Whereas this, it doesn't have that same resonance. But if like you said, adjust the expectation and say this is an episode of Clone Wars, but it's live action. You're like, you know what, this is actually pretty good.
I think even beyond the kid showness of it, I think just like the genre, it's easier for me to suspend my disbelief in comic books than it is in movies, and in cartoons than it is in movies. I think if you put this in a 4:3 ratio and put it on an old CRT television, I would probably think this show is like twice as good as I think it is now, because HD television, it's so hard for me to like watch with and suspend my disbelief. This is the only thing I do it for. I don't watch Marvel movies. I don't watch other like kind of big fiction movies unless it's like wow, this was art. Like, everyone was like, you got to watch Dune. I watched Dune. Dune was amazing. Right. I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is where it's at. But I only do it for Star Wars because I love Star Wars so much that I can pull it off. But yeah, it's harder for me for the 9 millionth time to watch a Storm the Castle episode without being like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they? My scrutiny has gone up after years and years of Star Wars, and I'm washing that off and enjoying the show more. So, I'm excited to see where we're going.
It was just nice to have a bit of a shift in perspective on the rewatch of this particular one. Where it's like, I don't know what in particular it was, but just like I was able to just watch it and not have all of the like expectations of what I thought it should be, and just enjoy it for what it was. And I know we can kind of like hedge and be like, yeah, it's good. It's not, what we wanted. But of course it's not. Like, he's one of the most iconic characters, and everyone is going to have like thoughts about what would be the coolest thing you could do with it.
Right.
And believe me, the internet is just abuzz with everyone's takes. And I'm so sick of logging onto Twitter after these episodes come out and seeing what people write, and I'm just like, I don't care what you thought of what you expected to happen. Like, it's fine that you had that, but like, just seeing the amount of people on Twitter who are like, this is not my Kenobi. I'm like, whatever, just get over it. Just watch it and accept it because it's your Kenobi now because they made it.
Yeah.
The other thing, I hate getting on Twitter and seeing the Kenobi spoilers, ... and then a line of text. I'm immediately getting those off of my feed, and whatever code or algorithm that Twitter has for that, it needs to be obliterated and destroyed because it's the most annoying thing on the planet.
Yeah. It doesn't help.
It
doesn't.
Kenobi spoilers ... Can you believe? I'm like, get out of here right now.
Yeah, I don't.
This is not relevant. Blocked.
If
Go.
You're gonna post,
I never want to see you again.
If you're gonna post a spoiler, you have to do it with the image that's the blurred image that you can click to unblur the image. That's the only way to do it. You're not kidding anybody. We try not to post spoilers. PBDO tries not to post spoilers, at least for a few weeks, you know?
PBD is very good on social media about the spoilers thing.
Yeah, he's okay at it. I'm trying to think. I think there was one more thing I wanted to say, but it's lost my mind, or it's been lost from my mind, so I'm sure it wasn't important. I think I was just gonna thank you for talking to me all the way from Scarif, BC, because I was dying to talk about this thing.
Yeah, this was one that, especially after I was awake and able to watch it, I was like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to talking about this."
I remember what I was going to say. We got to give some credit to episode 3 for shaking, because I think part of it, why it's taken some time for us to readjust, is episode 1, less so episode 2, but still the end of episode 2. I was like, oh, we might be getting into some real meaty drama here, some real meaty character drama. And I think the last episode, like, that's why I was averse. Like, I had a bad reaction to it, but it also shook me loose of that, where I was able to be like, okay, whatever, next.
Yeah, and even if okay, whatever was an episode that ended with a confrontation between Vader and Obi-Wan, I'm like,
this is pretty good. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh,
yeah, the Empire. It's the Empire.
Okay, I'm sorry. Coming. Everybody, we're gonna have to shut down right now.
Oh my goodness. They're patrolling. I just wanted a nice vacation on Scarif, man.
Whatever you do, you don't talk, okay? I don't care how much they torture you in that little broken VCR machine that they use to torture people. You just don't talk.
Fun. Okay? Hey, quick fun fact. Yeah. There is legitimately a cassette player and a VCR machine in this beach house that I'm staying in. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
VC, you gotta get that VCR out of there before the Empire discovers the tech.
That's beautiful technology. They can't get their hands on it.
VC, I hope you survive on Scarif.
I do too.
All right, good luck out there. Bye forever, everybody. Get me out of here.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.